This weekend marks 50 years since the day in the civil rights movement known as Bloody Sunday. Police unleashed a violent attack on peaceful marchers in Selma, Alabama, as they were trying to make their way to the state capitol in Montgomery. The clash became a turning point in the movement. As we approach the anniversary, Marley Hall talks to witnesses to history and asks how things have changed.
Avis Dunbar Smith was a child when Martin Luther King Jr. became pastor here at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama.
And I remember he gave us like a group hug. He always had a black robe, and I remember just as good as yesterday feeling the drape of the robe on my cheek.
It was here that Dr. King found his voice, not just as a preacher, but as a civil rights leader.
He was an electrifying man, but when he was here, church was packed.
She remembers walking past the Ku Klux Klan outside the church and the constant threat of violence.
Living in fear. It was rough, but I survived it.
And while she believes the civil rights movement has helped wipe out that fear, she says Dr. King's dream is still far from reality.
In Alabama, on a certain level, we still fight the Civil War.
Just a few blocks away is the house where Dr. King lived with his family from 1954 to 1960. Maintained just as it was. And around the corner, his barber, Nelson Malden, is still in business and remembers what Dr. King said about his first haircut.
He said, pretty good. So, you tell a barber pretty good, that's kind of an insult. But he came back 2 weeks later.
He says Dr. King sat in this very chair for a trim and a chat.
Do you believe that Dr. King's vision has been realized in America?
I think so. We do have a black president.
Malden says race relations have improved, but not the dramatic gap between America's rich and the struggling poor. He says if Dr. King were still alive, perhaps that would be his cause today. Marley Hall, CBS News, Montgomery, Alabama.
On Saturday, President Obama will join the anniversary march in Selma and deliver remarks from the Edmund Pettus Bridge.